Hello, my loves. Welcome into this reading for the Aries new moon Act 2 solar eclipse. This video is for you if this Aries new moon is in your 6th house, meaning you have Scorpio rising and or 29 degrees 50 minutes of Aries shows up in your 6th house. If you have not already watched the introduction to this eclipse season reading, I recommend you go do that. There's a lot of details in there that are necessary for you to form a basis of understanding for what it is that we're going to be talking about in this reading. So because the energies of the eclipse are so big and there's so much emphasis on new energy and there's so much emphasis on humanity and the changing times that we're living in, I really felt called to share with you some understanding that I have on a subject that I find to be of vital importance. Remember that with my readings, I'm always guiding us back to the wise instinctive knowing that exists within our beings. And this material really shows us the legacy that wise instinctive knowing has and really allows us to connect in a deeper way with that knowing in the way that from the understanding that we have of how big and important and integral this instinctual aspect of our beings is. So if you want to learn more about what it is that I tried to succinctly explain in the introduction, you can watch the interview, which is popping up on YouTube once I've had a time to add the video and linked in the description. You can watch that hour-long video, which talks about this content in greater depth and detail. Or you can listen to my 20-minute explanation and see what you can glean from that. It's not a full 20-minute explanation. Obviously, I talk about the eclipse season and the cycle and the energies that we're in now, too. So that's also present in that video. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about the 6th house. The 6th house is the house of health. It's ruled by the 6th sign of the zodiac, which is Virgo. It deals with the areas of our life involving healing, vitality, pets, service, and wellness. So this is the area of your life that we're going to be talking about in particular relationship to what's called the human condition and my guidance for how to free you from the human condition and how to really synthesize the human condition content through the context of the 6th house, utilizing the card that we drew for Act 1 of these readings. So first, let's review that card, and then we'll dive deeper. So your card was you are powerfully clairvoyant. Trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as your physical sight, for your spiritual vision helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. Beautiful. So, as I was talking about at the beginning of this video, the human condition content really helps us to understand that our species, the human species, developed from a species that had a 10 million year run at altruism, meaning unconditionally loving selflessness, developed through genetic adaptation over generations. And so when I talk about this wise instinctive knowing that exists within you, I'm really talking about the inheritance of 10 million years of programming, of instinctual nature that developed through our human ancestry. And so when we talk about being powerfully clairvoyant, or we talk about any of the clairs, clair just means clear. Voy means sea, like voyage or voyeur, seer. So clairvoyant means clear sight. And so when we're talking about clear sight, we're talking about a clear connection to our instinctual nature, our intuitive nature. So what I explained in the introduction is that 2 million years ago, we started developing our intellect, which is great for adapting to in-the-moment environmental threats where genetic adaptation just falls short because it takes generations to evolve. We are suffering the human condition, which has been a conflict between intellect running the show, going against our instinctual programming, and our instinctual programming say, hey, this isn't the way. We know, we feel a better way. And so you're being guided to recognize that you have a clear inner vision, a clear sight that is guiding you through life, through the house of health, but also through service, through the service that you're offering. This card also mentions helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. Okay, that's really important as we free ourselves from the human condition, that we invite others to be freed from the human condition as well. That's one of the reasons I stepped up to share this material and this content in these readings in this way, because I really feel that I am doing you a disservice by not presenting this material and this content to you. Out of all of the spiritual teachings that I've studied, out of all of the spiritual practices that I utilize, the most profound shift in my life has occurred because of this understanding. It makes everything else fall into place. And that doesn't mean I'm throwing out the spiritual tools, the spiritual knowledge that I have, following the stars, using the cards to gain guidance and support. But it does mean that offering that alone is, in a way, doing you a disservice, because I'm not offering you an understanding that gives you a foundation from which to build upon. So I can tell you you're powerfully clairvoyant, but without giving you a context of how that's really playing out in your life in relationship to this material, it may be a concept that just doesn't land with you, doesn't resonate with you. But as you study the human condition material, by Jeremy Griffith, if you check out the WTM, which is the World Transformation Movement, at humancondition.com, you can learn more about the biology of our genetic inheritance and about this war that's been happening between instinct and intellect. And you can really start to feel in your body this deep knowing that you have a genetic inheritance of vast wisdom and support beyond which your intellect has been able to understand. And so from that point, you can really understand your clairvoyant energy, your ability to see and get messages from this ancestral ancient part of you that really wants to help you, not only help you and serve you, but also help and serve humanity as a whole. So that's how we free ourselves from the human condition, is we stop acting out of the trauma of the human condition, which means understanding that there is trauma and understanding that we don't need to move forward in the ways that we have been to cope with our lack of understanding and to cope with the psychosis and the neurosis that has developed because of this condition. I will also say that this showing up in your house of service may mean that you're being called into serving others by sharing this content, by offering this content, or just by following your visions to wherever they lead. We all, I believe, came here with a specific mission, and it's time to remember our missions, to remember the tools that we have to follow through on our instinctual impulses, on the things that we're seeing, because they're guiding us and they're really necessary that we listen to what's going on in our inner world, because the outer world's going to get a lot noisier. And we're going to be able to navigate it with much more grace, compassion, understanding, and love to a place that we all want collectively: a better future for humanity, a collaborative, cooperative, selfless existence for our species, our children, and our children's children, and the generations to follow. We're going to need this instinctual energy and nature to really help support us. And it takes the intellect taking a step back. It's so powerful as a tool to really help us analyze, to really help us think about our choices and our actions. But when it comes to knowing what intuitively is the next step, it's inviting us to tap more into our clair senses: clairvoyance, clairsentience, which is clear feeling, clairaudience, clear hearing, clair cognizance, which is just knowing without knowing how you know. All of these clairs are part of our distant ancestral heritage of a deep instinctual nature that was nurtured and raised in a loving altruistic condition. I think that's all I have to share with you at this time, my beautiful six housers, Scorpio risings. I'm tapping in just to see if there's anything else here. That's it. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.